All right, let's get into it. Welcome, humans, to the New Venture Challenge Impact Awards Night, which celebrates solutions that tackle the world's biggest problems, like social justice and climate change. I'm Shaz, and I'm going to be your MC for tonight. Tonight is going to be a night of inspiration, innovation, and entirely too many finger guns. Tonight, we're going to hear from exceptional teams of students and faculty who are working to solve world problems for a brighter, safer, and more equitable future. And while they're doing this from the goodness of their hearts, we thought a little cash wouldn't hurt. These teams are competing for their share of $10,000. No one walks away empty-handed tonight, but the winnings are juicy. In 4th and 5th place, we have teams going home with $500 each. In 3rd place, the 3rd place team will win $1,000. The 2nd place team will win $3,000, and the 1st place prize for tonight is $5,000. To compete for that bag, each team will introduce their venture. Then we'll watch a 5-minute pitch in video form. And finally, our judges will follow up with 5 minutes of Q&A with the members of the team live in person right here, right now. After the Q&A, we're going to have a short break where we'll feature additional student ideas and opportunities. There's no excitement to spare. Even our ads are inspiring. Finally, while our fabulous judges are deliberating, we will have a special musical performance and panel featuring the Lullaby Project, an innovative impact concept that you won't want to sleep on. Woo, okay, that's a lot. We have a lot in store, but don't worry, we'll also announce our winners this evening before the night is over. And as we get into this evening, I just want to take some time to thank our wonderful sponsors. So thanks for all your money and investment sponsors. We couldn't have done this without you. So let's dive right in and meet the faces of the people you'll hear from tonight. These are the judges that will be deliberating over the fabulous ideas that are going to be presented. First up, we have Nina. Nina, can you tell everyone about who you are, what you do, and what scares you at night?
What scares me at night? Right now, the snow and the cold and the wind blowing. In terms of who I am and what I do, I just actually in the last few weeks spun out from a tenure of the last 5 years at Free Speech TV, which is a small nonprofit independent news network that's carried nationally on Dish and DirecTV. That is focused on progressive news and social justice issues. So it fits right in. I've been working with activists and producers who are focused on the exact same things that this group is focused on. But my background and my career has been in media and entertainment.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nina. Awesome. Next up, we have Chris. Chris, can you tell us about yourself and your least favorite food?
My least favorite food. Okay, I'm Chris Vargas. Good to meet everybody. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm an angel investor, and I've been both investing in startups about 20 years, and I've done 5 startups myself. So I love the whole startup ecosystem, and I love these kind of events where amazing young ideas present, and we get to evaluate them for what I call seed funding. So that's who I am. The question was, what's my least favorite food? Mm-hmm. Man, I like everything, but you know, I don't touch meat. So I would say it's got to be meat. I'm a vegetarian, so that's my answer.
Fantastic. I'm right here with you. Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And our third judge tonight is Essence. Essence, can you tell everyone about who you are, what you do, and if your dreams also make you thirsty?
I love it. I'm Essence Montgomery. I work at Zayo, a group. It's based out of Boulder, but I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am a manager of network operations here, which just means I tell people what to do. My dreams do make me thirsty because I make them so big that I actually have to be uncomfortable to reach them.
Good answer. I love that. Awesome. Thank you to our judges. That's Nina, Chris, and Essence. Thank you so much. Let's hear a round of applause for our judges. Come on, guys. I can't hear you. No, I still can't hear. I'm sorry, what's that? Oh, they can't. Oh, okay. All right, I just found out that you can't hear anything because it's a webinar. All right, without any further ado, let's watch our first video pitch from Hannah Keeger and Zan Bennett with Social Dynamic.
Hi everyone, my name's Hannah and I am so excited to be here with you tonight and with Social Dynamic. We are a social impact strategy company, which means that we go into other companies and help them develop campaigns and strategy so that they can have a social impact in local, national, even global communities. This is incredibly exciting to us as a team because it lets us have an impact so much larger than we could have as individuals or even as a team. We do this by helping the companies create a sustainable change that they can continue making impact with long after we're done working with them. We've been able to generate over $100,000 in revenue in just under a year, and we're so excited to see what comes next. We truly believe that with your help, we can make a difference in the world one company at a time. So I hope you look forward to seeing our pitch, and we look forward to answering any questions.
Hi, my name is Zan Bennett, and today I'll be presenting our company, Social Dynamic. Social Dynamic started when we reached out to small companies when COVID first hit, just to try to help them pro bono get through a really tough time with the lockdowns. And our success with that helped us leverage and pivot to a social impact strategy company. Now what we do is we help companies create goodwill campaigns. And an important context is that there's never been more options for consumers today. Represents increase in competition across industries. And that's one of many reasons why customers are really starting to care about the narrative and the values that a company represents. And you can see this trend across generations, with younger demographics caring not only that these companies have the values, but that they're vocal about them. And across growth stages, there's compelling reasons to address this trend right now. Our projects break down into 3 phases. First, we do extensive market research into their target demographic. Then we help to design and develop impactful campaigns and the messaging around them. And then finally, we work with these companies to weave in an ongoing mission. We've worked with 18 companies in our short tenure, and today I'm going to talk about one as an example. Trusted Table started off as Legends Cattle, a ranch that wanted to pivot to a sustainable farm-to-table delivery service. And we helped them create the name, the logo, the brand. We helped them assess environmental impact. And now Trusted Table is working with food banks to minimize food waste. They're working with the medical center, the hospital, to feed every doctor and nurse as a thank you because they're so impacted by COVID in the area. And 20% of the revenue from the launch will be donated towards the Child Advocacy Center, which works with child abuse prevention. These were handpicked campaigns because that target demographic was families, and they would care about these projects. We're excited about the lift that this is creating, and in the coming days and weeks, we'll have numbers to represent what this success story looks like. Social Dynamic is both an operations company that does things like feed every doctor and nurse at a hospital, but it also has experience in growth marketing, able to leverage these stories and bring them back to the audience. But importantly, we also specialize in social impact. And the reason that that is important is because goodwill campaigns are high risk and they're high reward. You have to get the messaging on point. You have to make sure that the impact you're creating is authentic, and you have to understand the context around the projects that you were working in. An example of this done successfully is the Colin Kaepernick sponsorship and the accompanying $40 million that Nike donated to the Black community. This represented an alignment with their target customer, and this created immense customer loyalty. An example of a misstep would be Tom's Shoes, which started off with great cause, but ended up being perceived as an example of social washing, which is a term used to describe a company that is only doing social good for the marketing and not making a real impact. We've helped develop campaigns, we've designed powerful brands, and we've successfully launched products. To date, we've earned nearly $130,000 in revenue. Our average client is between $4,000 and $10,000 a month, and contracts last anywhere between 3 and 10 months. As we bring on larger projects, they will have longer payment cycles, and we'll see a challenge to our cash flow when we have to do payroll before the money comes in from some of these larger projects. And that's why we're seeking funding. This is our team. We have a team of diverse backgrounds and expertise, and we have confidence that we can scale. What we're looking at is 3 companies that are serious contenders in our industry. And this is the amount of employees that each company has. As you can see, in this industry, you can have a relatively small team and make massive impacts by working with large companies. Socially dynamic is socially dynamic. And 10 to 20% of our portfolio is pro bono. And we've been able to work on some amazing projects. This is Tanzania, where we're helping to build a school for children who are blind and disabled. Thank you, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Fantastic. All right. While we are waiting, one moment here. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. Really exciting to see all of these students come up with such wonderful ideas to change the future and change the world. Awesome. So while while we're waiting here in this moment, we're going to jump into some Q&A. We have Hannah and Dan here to field questions for Social Dynamic. So Nina, one of our judges here, why don't you start us off with the first question for the group?
Yes, thank you guys very much. I wanted to ask the Social Dynamic team to describe more about their target audience. You had in your overview that you were focused on founding teams, but have you thought about working with larger agencies, maybe partnering, as well as any established teams with small organizations?
A great question, Nina. We have that as kind of our initial jumping off point. So we plan to start with these smaller founding teams in startups to kind of prove our credibility as a very talent-based company. We have to, get these case studies that would let us get those bigger contracts. We have not thought about as much working with specifically agencies and partnering with them. That's a great idea, though, to think about. But we do have goals to expand to, middle-sized, even well-established companies down the road, and being able to work with those teams to reach an even bigger, impact through their teams.
Fantastic. Next, we'll pass it off to Chris. Do you have any questions for the group?
I do. Great idea. This is a top of mind issue for companies all over the world. So you're in a good space. What I'd like to understand is how will you find, engage, acquire, and win customers? I mean, there are a lot of consulting firms entering this space. You've got a lot of big companies and small trying to do this. What's going to stand you apart? I'd like to know, who do you talk to within your customers? And how do you win them? What is your message that makes them sign up with you over a Boston Consulting Group or another one of your competitors?
Absolutely. So I'm excited to answer that question. It's one that we get a lot, and it's a question that has to be answered in stages. As a startup company, we have to use a different set of principles to convince people than we will when we're more grown. So right now, we convince people by going above and beyond, by working within networks and elaborating on our past experiences, not only in this company, but past it. So what's really important over the next 6 months, and even further than that, is we develop really powerful case studies that we can bring back to those larger clients. Now, right now, there's no client that's going to be coming to us in comparison to maybe one of those larger consulting groups, because we're a different thing. We're more dynamic. We're more fluid. We can adapt in and out of the team. But when we get to those bigger clients, we'll have the case studies to be able to prove ourselves. And also being specialist, I think that that's going to help as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic answer. I think we have time for one more question. I'll pass this over to Essence.
All right. Thank you, Shaz. My question is kind of in two parts. So you talked about in your video about a true like social justice campaign, you know, that wants to have an impact versus a company that's just kind of trying to do it just for marketing. What is your criteria before agreeing to work with the company to make sure that they aren't just looking for marketing versus a company that wants to have an impact? What are your kind of company review, if you will, to determine what are they doing already? What are their intentions?
Absolutely. So to start off with that, we've had the ability so far to have a lot of control over these projects, which means that up to date, we've been able to help these companies guide towards a solution. Now, to be honest, a lot of these companies need to see that synergy where they're making an impact, but they're also using it in some sort of goodwill, or you could consider marketing capacity. So our goal is not to do no marketing, but rather to convince them that the best marketing they can do is through authentic impact. And we've hit times where companies come to us and they want to do something that's misaligned. And we just have to be true to our standards. And we have said no to customers before, and we will in the future as we develop that set of standards more specifically.
Fantastic. That's all the time that we have in this round for questions. So we will let the judges go off to their breakout room and tally their score. And while they do that, we're going to take a look at another impact solution that our student teams are working on. And then we'll have a team member share advice for how to create impact in a world personally or via our ventures. Sure, there's going to be a video anytime now. Get it with the watch?
Sorry, one sec.
All right, while we're waiting, I have a terrible pun. What do you call... No, let's see. All right, Saved by the Bell. Here's our video. We'll be back in just a minute.
Jet fuel. That's why aviation makes up over 3% of global emissions, and because it's being injected into the most sensitive parts of our atmosphere, has a 2 to 4x impact over other emission types. And compounding that, over 80% of these aviation emissions come from long-range flights. Here at Mach Electric Aerospace, we have a solution. Our Mach Jet technology. It's an air-breathing, all-electric supersonic propulsion system that enables long-range electric flights. The Mach Jet draws on decades of propulsion system design and is enabled by our proprietary multi-patent pending technology that utilizes state-of-the-art plasma physics and material science. We've made significant progress on this, from patents, fabrication and manufacturing, testing and networking. We've excited to build out our path to market, as well as really challenge this $80 billion a year engine aircraft industry. Our team is poised and ready to take on this challenge, and we're excited to share with you our journey. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Well, I don't know about you, but it sounds like a breath of fresh air. Let's move on to Spencer Danzillo with some advice for creating impact in a world in professional and personal lives. Spencer?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, as a technical professional, adding value to the future can be tricky sometimes, which is why we must bring in our own ethics and a vision for the future and apply them to the direction we want to go. In aerospace specifically, in my field and my peers, we can choose to tackle these massive problems in both the economic and environmental fronts, which is why we've chosen to tackle aviation and all the massive amounts of emissions. All broad ranges of STEM and STEAM fields can use our education and extensive background to make a difference in the world and follow the vision and following the ethics that we believe in for the future change.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer. That was great. All right. I seem to have lost this. All right, so we're going to come up now with our next group presenting their idea, Pureburn, which is going to be introduced by Tatiana Srinivasan. Tatiana?
Hi, my name is Tatiana Srinivasan with Pureburn LLC. Our venture is a one-of-a-kind improved cook stove designed specifically for developing countries in Central America. We decided to create an improved cook stove because of the impact that one can make. They reduce indoor air pollution and benefit the lives of millions. The best stoves even provide electricity to those living off the grid, allowing kids to have a light to do their homework in the evenings. None of the stoves currently on the market meet all of the needs of people in Central America. That's why we designed the VersaCook to have a plancha-style cooktop, making it perfect for cooking Central American foods. The stove also features a power generation unit that uses waste heat to produce electricity. The VersaCook enables cost savings on fuel and improves the respiratory health of its users. Our venture will create positive change in the world by improving indoor air quality and reducing the time constraint of cooking. We hope everyone is as excited about the VersaCook as we are. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tatiana Srinivasan, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Pureburn LLC. Internationally, 3.8 million people die every year as a result of indoor air pollution. This pollution is largely caused by poor ventilation and smoke-producing stoves. In Central America alone, 15.5% of children suffer from asthma and similar respiratory problems. Despite education being compulsory and provided free by the government in Guatemala, students only spend about 4.1 years in school. Women and kids spend their days gathering fuel for cooking and making 3 meals each day. This is where we come in. Pureburn is a company committed to improving the health and well-being of impoverished communities with our efficient and accessible improved cook stove, the VersaCook stove. An improved cook stove gives time and money back to women and kids, allowing children to stay in school longer and giving them a chance at a better future. Our stove greatly reduces indoor air pollution, improving the health and well-being of millions. The VersaCook stove features this wide and flat plancha-style cooktop. Similar to a griddle, the plancha is perfect for cooking the cuisines native to Central America. The door in this image can be opened at any time during the cooking process, enabling continuous fuel feed. This is a never-before-seen feature on gasifying stoves. Existing models are all batch-loaded, meaning women have to guess the amount of fuel required for a meal. Additionally, the VersaCook is fit with a chimney to lead combustion emissions directly outside the home. This chimney is directly up for emissions testing purposes, but the stove our consumers would receive would be fit with a flexible chimney to allow seamless integration into their homes. For size comparison, this pot is 12 inches in diameter with a 6-quart volume. This diagram shows the general function of a gasifying stove, where the arrows represent the temperature and direction of airflow. By circulating air through the fuel in the combustion chamber, the fuel is heated until it decomposes and produces gases, which are then burned. This yields higher efficiency rates because less fuel is wasted as harmful emissions. Traditional cooking methods burn wood 30 to 40% efficient. The VersaCook burns 80 to 90% efficient. We are reducing the amount of fuel required for a single meal by more than half. To further improve the lives of our users, waste heat from the stove produces a temperature difference across a thermoelectric power generator that produces usable electric power. This module can power multiple LED lights continuously or charge a typical smartphone in just 2 hours. Off-the-grid electricity is vital to impoverished communities internationally. In November 2020, Hurricanes Eta and Iota wreaked havoc on Central American communities, and reports show that 80% of electricity infrastructure was damaged. Climate change is only going to increase the necessity of developing off-the-grid electricity. Pureburn plans to impact communities in Nicaragua, Honduras, and Guatemala, where 14.7 million people are impacted by household air pollution. The average income of households in these countries is $12.80 per day, where 40% of that income is spent on cooking fuels. Selling directly to consumers, the projected cost of a single stove is $175. Our stove doubles fuel efficiency, which translates into savings up to $400 annually on fuel costs. Expecting Pureburn to achieve 10% market penetration, sales in Nicaragua yield $11.2 million. Honduras brings in $14 million, and Guatemala brings in $26.2 million. In total, Pureburn is projected to make $51.4 million. The VersaCook stove improves the health and well-being of its users, while its fuel efficiency saves them money and time. Compared to competitors, the VersaCook outperforms all through gasification, adjustable airflow, continuous fuel feed, and power generation. Pureburn is a for-profit company built to succeed. We're a group of well-rounded individuals with invaluable experience in the fields of computer-aided design, manufacturing, and project management. We don't get all the credit. Our advisors are really the ones who have steered us in the right direction and given us the tools and resources that we need to succeed. In the company's first year, Pureburn has designed and produced a full working prototype of the VersaCook stove and is currently testing. In the next year, Pureburn will work with Stove Team International, an NGO based in Eugene, Oregon, to sell the VersaCook stove to at least one impoverished community in each country of interest. In year 3, as the VersaCook gains traction, Pureburn plans to hire sales and marketing personnel and begin larger scale production of the VersaCook stove. Join us in improving the health and well-being of impoverished communities in Central America. Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie, that idea is fire. We're going to be joined now by the group that is presenting Pureburn. That's Tatiana Srinivasan, Hayden, sorry, I have a little screen issue here, Hayden Fetter and Ryan Flynn to field some questions. So Nina, why don't you start us off with questions?
All righty. I was just wondering, team, who's the chef on the team that's doing all the testing in the group? That's my first question. And my second question, after you answer that one, because that's the important one, is can you talk a little bit more about your manufacturing and distribution plans?
So we actually have multiple chefs. We're not working directly with Central America, but all of our advising team has direct experience with implementing improved cook stove in various communities. So they have been our pseudo users and they've been making a few meals for us. To answer your other question, the initial price that we had for manufacturing was based on an inflation of manufacturing costs because of the pandemic. As of yet, it is currently a fully sheet metal stove. So it's simple manufacturing and the pieces go together quite simply. Working with Stove Team International, as we mentioned, they work with a manufacturing center in Nicaragua, and we hope to work with that manufacturing center as well. And we will plan to teach them how to make the stove themselves, and therefore it's easier distribution-wise. Instead of importing from America, it would be moving around from Nicaragua to Honduras and to Guatemala.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll pass the next question to Chris Vargas. Chris?
Yes, hi. I love the idea. I had a little bit of experience with doing another technology, getting it into Kenya and Africa. And the biggest challenge we faced was distribution. You know, in those countries, it's actually very hard to find channels that can distribute your product. A great idea. It'll work, I'm sure. But how do you get it out to thousands, if not millions of people? What channels will you use to distribute the product and get it into the hands of the people who need it?
To answer that question, so we, our first, we want to, when we manufacture our stove is very important. So like we said earlier, we partner with Avanza factory. So that is in, it's near Esteli, Nicaragua. And the NGO that we'll be working with allows us to market our product to people around that area. And then, so we work with a lot of local manufacturers, and then it spreads through word of mouth. And then once we have traction, we'll hire marketing personnel and advertising.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for that. And we'll turn it over to Essence for the next question. Essence.
Thank you. So I love the idea of, getting more modern cooking technology to third world countries and lower income countries. But my question is how, I know you talked about you would kind of make the pieces very easily put together. How would the installation process into their homes? Have you guys kind of done some research on the modernization of the homes there and how they will be able to be installed and run on a long-term basis?
So, I mean, the customer buys the stove fully assembled. We're talking more so about when at locally manufacturing, they put it together locally, and then it receives fully, it is portable. You can pick it up, and you just put it in your home. The most complex part of the installation is just a flexible chimney that is fitted for the stove, and the one that you see there in the pictures, that one is just for demonstration. However, when they actually buy the stove, they're fitted with a flexible pipe that just attaches to the chimney.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have time for one more question. I'll let the judges choose who wants to ask that question if they have one.
One question is, I've seen similar products like this go out into these markets. What do you think is your differentiator that makes you the one they'll choose over others?
I'm really happy you asked that question. So on the Clean Cooking Catalog, which is basically a large catalog with 455 different improved cook stoves. So there's only 54 available in Latin America, and only 23 of them are griddle/plancha, and only 3 are gasifiers, not including the griddles. There's no plancha gasifier, and there's only 1 stove in all of Latin America that has a TEG. And so the differentiating factor is that we have everything. We got the plancha, it's a gas feeder, it's continuous feed, and it has a TEG. So we have a lot more value for our customer. Whereas our competing product, the BioLite Base Camp, it retails for $300. It's a gasifier with a TEG, but not a plancha of similar size. It retails for $300. And it's not even available in Latin America, but that is our most comparable product. And so basically the combination of everything, that we have kind of everything that you would want for Latin America, whereas other stoves are really specifically designed more for Africa and Asia.
Thanks so much, you guys, for all of those awesome questions and answers. We're going to keep our program moving along with a little bit of a live change of pace. We're going to switch it up with a little bit of live performance for you, a live talk with Caroline from the Buffs with Sustainable Solutions. Caroline, take it away.
Hi, so I'm Caroline. Thank you for having me. I'm here to introduce the Buff Sustainable Solutions Challenge, which is a pitch competition sponsored by the Environmental Center on campus. And BSSC was designed to help students share their ideas for making the CU campus or the CU system more socially or environmentally sustainable. And it's a great opportunity to think about really new and innovative programming or infrastructure, which a lot of you guys already have practice with, it seems like, and to be creative and network with sustainability professionals. So the competition is a really low time commitment. All you have to do is submit a 2-page executive summary and a draft of a slide deck describing your idea by March 30th. And you can do this with a group or individually. And then if you're chosen to go into pitch night, you'll present on April 8th to a judging panel of sustainability experts and an audience of the public. And you'll have a chance to win a $1,000 first prize, a $600 runner-up prize, or a $400 audience favorite prize. And then we have a lot of great avenues like our sustainable grant program so that you can get your project implemented as well in the next couple semesters. So if you're interested, on the next slide, we have the website, which is colorado.edu/eCenter/challenge. You can go on there, learn some more specifics, submit your proposal, or just fill out the interest form and learn more about the format of the competition and the things you'll be submitting. And if you have any questions, you want to be connected with someone at the Environmental Center or with any potential group members, you can email me at ideas@colorado.edu, and we would love to have any of you compete. You just have to be a CU student. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Caroline. And once again, that's colorado.edu/ecenter/challenge. Thanks so much. Excellent. We are ready for our third video of the evening, coming up on that halfway point, if you can believe it. We're going to kick it off with Rocky Tech, presented by Tony Tong. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Tony Tong. I'm so excited to be here today and equally excited to see many familiar faces and names here. At Rocky Tech, our team of PhDs has developed new technology to solve the current plastic waste problem by converting waste into new material that can be used to create high-value products. We call this new material weekend pellets. This new technology is based on NSF-supported basic science and has been lab validated that allows multiple types of plastic waste to bond together very strongly. This was not possible in the past. It created a lot of problems on a global basis. So what's the economic and environmental impact? Well, when this technology is adopted widely to achieve a circular economy for plastics, this can save $100 billion and reduce 30% of carbon dioxide emissions annually in the United States. We hope this new technology and its impacts are exciting to you as well. We look forward to your questions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tony Tong, co-founder and CEO of Rocky Tech. At Rocky Tech, we're developing a new technology called Weekend to solve the current plastic waste problem by upcycling plastic waste into a new material that can be used in high-value products. Well, living in the world of plastics as a material offer many incredible benefits, but they also create tremendous problems for the world. In particular, plastic waste is piling up every day. The United States alone generated 40 million tons of plastic waste a year. Plastic waste is a big problem not just in the US, but also around the world, including the beautiful Maldives Islands on this picture. Of course, we do recycle plastics, yet in the United States, only 8.7% of plastic waste is being recycled, far below the average of 30% in Europe. So why are recycling rates so low? Well, it's really because of two reasons. First, different types of plastics don't mix together, so they need to be carefully sorted in order to be used effectively in creating new products. Yet, it remains extremely difficult to automate the sorting process. But if not sorted, mixed plastics is almost useless, and it is even harder to create products of any high value. The second reason, regardless of sorting, is that current recycling practices mostly downcycle plastics because the long polymer chains existing in plastics are shortened and degraded during recycling, leading to low-end, low-value products. Rocky Tech's technology Weekend is able to address both problems at the same time. The basic science around Weekend was developed with an NSF grant to CU Boulder that's already resulted in several peer-reviewed articles. So how does it work? First, with this cross-linking bonds, the technology can stitch together the polymer chains in different types of plastics that were immiscible before. Therefore, the costly sorting process can be minimized. Second, the same cross-linking bonds can also stitch together the shortened and degraded polymer chains with a strong chemical bonding. And through this, the original chemical properties can be restored and even strengthened. Now, as a result of this process, different types of plastic waste can be combined and upcycled into a new material that we call weekend pellets, as shown here, which, according to our research, offer performance properties stronger than virgin plastics made from oil and gas. And this gives us a competitive advantage because our products are produced at a lower cost from post-consumer waste, and we can still price somewhat below virgin plastic. The total available market for plastics in the United States is $90 billion. At the initial stage, we aim to address automotive manufacturers, which is a $20 billion market. We plan to build our own plant to manufacture weekend pallets to sell. With this business model, we expect the obtainable market to be 1% of $20 billion, translating to $200 million of revenue. An alternative is to license our technology. With this approach, we expect to receive $4 million of licensing fee upfront and a 3% annual royalty of $6 million. Now, while all this is really exciting for us, it's just the beginning. We know that the weekend pellets can be used in many ways to make other high-value products, such as sporting equipment and aerospace, opening a much broader market. So far, we've conducted bench-scale R&D, and these weekend pellets produced, they deliver very strong results. Based on these results, we have submitted 2 SBR grant proposals to the Energy Department to further our research and build our IP. We've also conducted interviews with several plastics and prosthetic companies in Colorado. We're currently applying to the NSF I-Corps program to gain more insights into customer discovery. We believe our technology arrives to prime time. Never has the US government been more eager to fix the growing plastic problem and to reward innovative solutions. Also, there's a strong social movement towards reducing and eliminating plastic waste. All of this should bode well for Weekend. The Weekend team is led by me and our CTO, Alice Jane. We're also fortunate to partner with professors from CU with vast experience in chemistry and engineering in developing new materials. We're also in the process of recruiting an executive with experiences and contacts in waste management and supply chains in the target industry. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. All right, we are joined by Tony Tong and his partner, Alice Jin, for their Q&A session with the judges. I'm going to keep switching things up and we're going to reverse the order. So we'll start off with Essence this time with your first question. Essence?
Okay. All right. Great idea. I guess my only question is, I know the slide deck said that it would be about $100 difference in the amount that it would take to, I believe it was process the plastics for Weekend pellets versus the virgin plastics. Over time, based on inflation, where do you see that difference kind of materializing? Would it be more of a negative or a positive for you guys? And then also long term, what other products besides just cars or aerospace do you foresee being able to use these Weekend pellets to manufacture things?
It's a great question. Thanks for asking. So I think one of the advantages of the Weekend pellets is it's lower priced, right? The other piece, which we mentioned a little bit in the video, was that it just has higher mechanical strength, for example, and it's more durable, right? It could be, malleable, which means that after the plastics, after the products have been made. So, for example, we're thinking about automobile lightings, automobile interiors. After those products have been made, it could be reprocessed and bring back to Weekend pellets. So the technology allows these pellets to be reprocessed multiple times. So I think those are the additional benefits I think we offer compared with the traditional virgin plastic. And the other piece of the question was about what do we do with this product in the longer run. So I think the automobile market is basically actually a very large market. The automobile, as a whole has, I believe, like over 30,000 parts, and about 1/2 of those parts are from plastics. So I think even with the automobile market could be a huge market. But then we're also thinking about construction materials, for example, and then sporting equipment. But those are the next step after the automobile market.
Great. Excellent. Thank you for that. We'll take the next question from Chris.
Thank you. Great presentation and really solid idea. I've actually invested in 2 plastic startups, so I kind of understood what you're doing. It's very interesting. Two questions. You talk about the markets for this product, some very large markets. Have you engaged or validated the market demand with any actual customers for this product? Because it is a new product and there may be some concerns. And number two, have you actually validated the $1,000 a ton price? Are you very certain you're going to be coming in that price? A lot of unforeseen costs come up when you start to work at scale, for example. So if you could answer those two in 30 seconds, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I think the first question is a great question about validation. So what we have done so far was, we talked to some plastics companies and also prosthetics companies, not the automobile market in particular. But one thing we need to do is to sort of scale up the production so that they could use our weekend pallets to produce. So we haven't been able to achieve that yet. So we are thinking about doing a pilot manufacturing in the next stage. So when we are able to do that, then we have initial, weekend pallets to work with the customers. So that's the first thing. The second thing about the cost. So the cost was based on our estimate of the post-consumer plastic waste. And also because the technology itself used to produce weekend pallets, the process and also the equipment and facilities based on our research will be similar to what people are doing with virgin plastics. So we believe that we could achieve that price point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I think we can do one really quick question. Nina.
I'm going to make it really quick and easy. I had a whole bunch of questions on this one, but can you expand a little bit more on the competition?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so it's a very good question, and I could delve more into the competition, but let me just quickly summarize. So there are a couple of different types of companies that could be competitors, but I also want to emphasize that those could be collaborators as well. So one is a traditional chemical company. So for example, like BASF, BASF is a German company, and Eastman Chemical Company based in Tennessee, for example. Those companies are actually looking for new solutions to help them to recycle or upcycle plastic waste. So it could potentially be a competitor for us. But in the meantime, we feel that we could potentially work with them too. For example, licensing our technology or maybe other, customized manufacturing. The other type of company which could be a potential competitor is companies that are specifically focused on recycling. So for example, there's a company called Pure Technologies based in Ohio. But what they are doing is that they use a very different way of recycling plastic waste. So our technology is very different from them. And we produce these pellets, which actually are higher grade compared to what this pure technology, pure recycle technology company is doing. So I think we could potentially work with them as well. Thank you.
Nice, great answers. And what a great idea for such an impactful project. At this time, we're going to ask the judges to input their scores, and we're going to keep on with our program. But before we do, I have a terrible plastic joke that I have to share with you guys. What bird is great at recycling? Toucans. Toucans are great at recycling. So it kind of reminded me of we can. Anyway, keeping it moving, we're going to watch a 90-second video from Jason about Open Tug. And then we're going to hear some advice from Jason about making impacts in our professional and private lives.
Thank you. At Open Tug, we are realizing the efficiencies of the tug and barge industry on a global scale, helping world trade grow sustainably and economically today and tomorrow. Domestic freight today is almost exclusively transported by road and rail. Freight volume is growing 10% year over year, while roadways and railways are not. Shipping via barge emits up to 90% less carbon at as little as 20% of the cost and has an unlimited capacity compared to road and rail alternatives. This reliance on land freight is not sustainable from an infrastructure, cost, or environmental perspective. We saw that if shippers had an easy way to access this enormous opportunity of the tug and barge market, goods can move more efficiently at a fraction of the cost and with a fraction of the emissions.
With the support of three of the largest tug companies on the West Coast, the Port of Seattle, and the Washington State Department of Commerce, we have built a way to easily integrate marine transportation into the global supply chain. Using OpenTug, a shipper can quickly identify if a barge or marine line is right for their load. They simply post the job on the OpenTug marketplace and it is automatically matched to service providers and in-transit voyages that fit their needs. They receive bids directly within the platform and are quickly able to compare all their options at once. No more searching for providers or no more talking to brokers. Even more, after they book their job, OpenTug finds trucks that pick up their cargo, they can make changes, communicate with the provider, and track their load until it safely reaches the dock, all online.
Awesome. All right, Jason, what is your advice on creating impact in the world in personal and professional life?
Well, my advice for creating impact is a lot of these things are huge challenges that the government and other government agencies have a lot of interest in helping solve. So I would advise people to try to get in contact with government officials, present to them their ideas and see if your interests align, because they might be able to help you tackle ideas that are too big to tackle alone. That's all.
Excellent. That's really sound advice. Thanks so much. You could say that the tug idea is going places. All right, we're moving on to our fourth competing group, which is going to introduce their idea, Hug Solutions. This is a team that is going to be presented by Claire Meyer. Claire?
Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Meyer, and I am a co-founder of Hug Solutions. I'm excited to introduce you all to my company and our product, Portobex. We strongly believe that Portobex will make a positive impact on the world, especially in rural communities and developing nations. The goal of Portobex is to increase access of mRNA vaccines in places that don't currently have the infrastructure to support this life-saving medicine. The COVID pandemic has highlighted both the importance of mRNA vaccines and their inequitable distribution worldwide due to strict temperature requirements. Here is how Hug Solutions is going to make an impact and address this important challenge with our product, Portobex.
Health, unity, growth. These are keys to improving the lives of all people on our planet. We are Hug Solutions, and we are incredibly excited to introduce our life-saving device, Portobex, a last-mile, ultra-low temperature vaccine transportation unit dedicated to ensuring that the rural communities worldwide have access to life-saving mRNA vaccines. We've designed the entire device from the ground up with the rural population in mind, so they are not overlooked in the vaccine distribution network. But who exactly is the rural population? It's more people than you might think. Nearly half the entire world's population is considered rural. When problems such as lack of reliable electricity are added into the equation, there is a huge gap in the vaccine distribution network. The World Health Organization estimates that each year there are 1.5 million deaths that could be avoided by improving global vaccine coverage. The COVID-19 pandemic has taught us the importance of vaccines. We've all been doing our part to help stop the spread of this virus, but the ongoing threat to the rural population due to lack of vaccine distribution is just as big of an issue that doesn't get the attention it needs. By improving vaccine distribution, we can save millions of people every year. And the first step lies in the future of vaccines. Newly developed mRNA vaccines have the potential to vaccinate everyone. Because the vaccine is sequenced, it can be made in a lab at scale, creating a huge supply. The vaccines do, however, require lower cold chain storage to maintain their stability. mRNA vaccines are undoubtedly the future of medicine, and by 2027, the global vaccines market will reach nearly $105 billion. That's more than double its current size. So if we're going to have all these new mRNA vaccines, then what's the problem? None of the devices in the rural distribution network are capable of maintaining the cold storage requirements. And new ultra-low temperature coolers cost tens of thousands of dollars, which means there is no way for each small clinic to purchase them. And even if they could, many of the rural regions do not have reliable enough electricity to consistently maintain the temperatures needed. The thermal shippers currently being used by the COVID-19 vaccine are too heavy to carry, and they are not robust enough to survive outside of the mass distribution network. So there is a huge supply of vaccines, and there is a huge demand of vaccines, but there is no cost-effective and reliable solution to deliver them. But we have a solution, and that is Portobex, a vaccine carrier that is capable of maintaining the ultra-low cold temperatures. It's portable and robust enough to deliver these vaccines without electricity. In just one vaccine delivery, we can save 250 people. With multiple days of transit time, the clinics and outreach programs have enough time to transport and administer the vaccines, despite the challenges of hot climates in some of these rural areas. We've made huge progress on Portobex already. We've designed the entire device, conducted several tests, and are nearly complete with manufacturing of our full-scale prototype. In the next few weeks, we will begin testing and validation, and in the near future, we will submit patent applications to secure our IP. Our partnership with the Jodhpur School of Public Health in Rajasthan, India has been an incredible resource for tailoring the device's capabilities to the actual needs of doctors working in the rural vaccination drives. Through JSPH, we've also got a great launching point to connect with governments and nonprofits, so we can get Portobex to the people who need it. And at a cost of just $300, the device becomes less than 1% of the cost of the vaccine itself, after only 18 uses. Throughout the life of the device, we can expect to save clinics thousands of dollars from excess dry ice compared to other coolers. And that's not even considering the thousands saved from wasted vaccines when other coolers can't maintain their temperature. We've got an excellent team working on Portobex. We have 5 senior mechanical engineers at CU with experience in global engineering settings, and a team of experts to back us up. We've made huge progress on Portobex already, but we can't do this alone. We need your help to help vaccinate everyone, no matter where they are. We've all been doing our part to help stop the spread of viruses here in Boulder, but with your help on Portobex, we can save millions of people worldwide. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, we're moving on to our question and answer portion of the presentation. Claire is going to be joined by partners Braden Shelley, Ed Perk, and Gary Yu. All right, let's start it off with Essence. Why don't you start it again?
Awesome. Great pitch. I love it. I guess it's a multi-part question. What is the lifespan of the device? I may have missed that. Like how long would they be able to reuse it? And how many vaccines can fit in there?
Hi, Essence. Thank you. So we're aiming to keep the device operational for 500 uses. So that's a long time for the clinics to do multiple and many outreach programs. Further testing will allow us to prove that number so we can guarantee how long we can keep it. And for the number of vaccines, it depends on the vial size that we're using. We've based our current estimates off of the 2R vial, which is the one that Pfizer is using for their COVID-19 vaccine. And that is 250 doses.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Next, we'll field a question from Chris.
Yes, thank you. Amazing idea, very timely given the world situation today. Similar question I had for the other team is, how do you get your distribution channels built up to get this amazing product where it needs to be? I guess the question I have is your mission to be a technology provider or a go-to-market company that will also own the distribution of this? Where is your sort of superpower going to be? And second part of the question is, have you engaged any of those partners you showed on the slide? You had several names there, really great organizations. Have you talked to any of them and got a sense that they would love to see this product and work with you?
Thanks, Chris. Our teammate Evan can answer this one for you.
Thanks, Chris. So just to kind of start off, so we're really banking on a partnership with JSPH to kind of infiltrate the market. So we're hoping they have connections with the government of India. And so kind of our initial step into infiltrating the market and distributing is to build this relationship with JSPH, build our credibility, and then hopefully be able to sell our product through connections through their organization to the government of India. And then we're starting to reach out to other companies. Eventually, we'd like to form partnerships with companies like the Gates Foundation and other NGOs or non-for-profit organizations. So we're beginning those communications. We haven't necessarily begun those partnerships, but that's kind of where we're headed in the future.
Yeah, and for the second part of your question, we foresee this being more of a technology focused. We really want to be able to get the devices to the clinics and the NGOs that are actually vaccinating people. So right now there's a huge distribution problem. We want to solve the problem and give them tools to be able to solve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great answers. All right, and our last question comes from Nina.
Yeah, thanks, thank you so much, Shaz, and a fantastic idea. Just to, if you could dive a little bit deeper for us on how you are thinking you're going to manufacture it. You know, in the exec summary, you talk about the R&D process, but I just want to get a better idea of what you're thinking about right now, what direction that's going.
Sure, Evan can answer this one as well.
Yeah, so we're actually working with our team's director, Tim Roybal, who's got 40 years of experience in manufacturing plastics industry, to develop a more comprehensive manufacturing plan right now. But basically the idea is that we're going to start with manufacturing our product in the United States. It would be very small scale initially. We just want to be able to have more manufacturing control, I guess, and so we see that being better suited in the United States. So basically starting with manufacturing in the United States and then eventually perhaps having sub-assembly units being shipped to other areas in the globe that can then be assembled later in the manufacturing process. But initially in the United States is where we'll start.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And Nina, we have time for one more quick question. Go for it.
So my question was, and I love what you're doing in India with the with JSPH, but I'm just wondering why, if you're manufacturing here and there's a need here, especially with rural communities, why not start here, start domestically?
So definitely that is something we want to take on as well. Since we're manufacturing the units here in the US and even in Colorado to start, we can go right away to user testing within Colorado and the US, because you're right, there are a lot of rural communities here that can't get the vaccines they need. We also want to work with India though, because India has the largest rural population in the world. And they're also the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world. So those two together make it a really good fit.
Thank you, that helps out a lot, thanks.
Excellent. Now, judges, if you could enter your scores for this fantastic idea that's going to make sure that rural people are not going to miss their shot. All right, we'll move on to a little presentation, an animated voiceover featuring Indy, the CMO of Uplight, which is Boulder's most recent unicorn company. He's going to share his thoughts on sustainability.
What does it mean to be sustainable? It's never been more important to answer that question for each of us and to evolve that answer as we go on. What we thought was sustainable 20 years ago, hooray, we're recycling in my town, has clearly been proven insufficient the further we go. We're learning a lot about sustainability, but one of the areas we spend a lot of time thinking about is how to make a business sustainable for the long term. At Uplight, the company came together on the premise that we wanted to help fight climate change. Uplight is made up of companies that were all creating technologies that help electric and gas utilities and their customers transition to a clean energy future. So that's sustainable, right? Helping the planet become lower carbon and make better use of its resources. But there are other aspects of sustainability that we've had to consider along the way as well. How do we, as a profit-driven company, stay aligned with our mission and do well by our financial investors? How do we make sure we're taking proper care of our employees and do the right thing in our communities? One of our first priorities was to certify as a B Corporation, a business that meets, quote, the highest standards of verified social and environmental performance, public transparency, and legal accountability to balance profit and purpose. Employees and executives alike were committed to setting a foundation to use profitable growth as a means to a greater end. Joining the B Corp community aligned with our company's core values: one team, impactful progress, grow, and doing the right thing. This doesn't solve all of our challenges of sustainability, but the B Corp certification program gives us and our investors a measuring stick of sustainability, like our impact on communities, on justice, and diversity. Perhaps most importantly, it cements in the minds of our employees, investors, and customers what a company we're proud of should stand for. And so when tough decisions about what's sustainable and what's not come up, we're all aligned on the need to face them head on and find the answers. So as we seek to build the next great tech business that enables the clean grid, we're in good company with over 3,800 other certified B Corps that share our belief that business has a responsibility not only to shareholders, but to the community and to the planet.
Fantastic. All right, we have made it to our final contenders of the evening. Next up is the final team, which is going to present their pitch for Keg Stand, featuring Jimmy. Jimmy, will you introduce us to your idea?
Yeah, thank you, Shaz. My name is Jimmy. I'm one of the co-founders here at Keg Stand, where we are reinventing the beer keg. The steel keg design we all recognize hasn't been improved in nearly a century. Today, we are using space-age technology originally developed by NASA to reduce the weight by 40%. This weight reduction translates into fewer carbon emissions, more kegs going out on each truck, and fewer repetitive motion injuries for brewery staff. The Fiberlight will allow brewers to focus less on packaging and more on creating high quality beer to be enjoyed in welcoming, environmentally conscious spaces for everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Keg Stand, where we are building 40% lighter kegs that help both brewers and the planet. A year and a half ago, we talked to our favorite local brewery and overheard them nearly incessantly complaining about the weight of their kegs. We set out and spoke with another 127 experts about kegs, and we found that near unanimously, the top problem is the weight of the kegs. It's driving up distribution costs, it's increasing brewers' environmental impact, and handling kegs causes over 50% of brewery injuries. In addition to this, we learned that brewers' top priority is making sure that their kegs are safe. Their second priority is ensuring that their kegs are reusable to help them be more environmentally conscious. As a brewer, these are your choices on the market right now. The stainless steel keg is causing all of the weight problems that we talked about before. The plastic PET keg is lighter, but there's a catch here. It's one-time use. That means that every time that you ship a keg, it's thrown away. The team set out to look at different industries to try and find a solution, and we found that the aerospace industry and firefighters use something called COPV, which is a composite overwrapped pressure vessel. These are used in these situations specifically for the reasons that they are lower weight and they last a really long time. This is how we built the world's first COPV keg that is 40% lighter, just as safe, and you can reuse it time and time again. On average, a brewer can save $2.50 every time they ship one of our kegs over the competitors. Not only that, but by choosing our products in distribution, they use 20% less fuel by reducing the weight. We are proud to be the premium product on this market, and we can command this higher price point because we save brewers money over time, and we help them become more environmentally conscious. Right now, we're running paid pilot programs with our customers, Flightco Brewing and Cabin Creek Brewing up in Georgetown. So far, we filed a provisional patent for using COPV for any beverage. We've been through the Catalyze CU Accelerator, and we won the Esprit Challenge last fall. For our beachhead market, we're focusing on small Colorado and California craft breweries. This equates to about a $25 million beachhead market. It will help us validate our product and get the word out. This is actually what I'm talking about here. It's not just breweries that use kegs. Wine, kombucha, and cold brew coffee, just to name a few, all use kegs. This is why we're positioning ourselves as the world's first and the industry-leading COPV beverage solution that lowers costs and helps beverage producers become more sustainable. Like I said, right now, we're running paid pilot programs with our customers. In later years, we'll be adding tracking services to help induce another stream of revenue. Year 4, we'll be breaking even. And throughout these years, we'll be slowly targeting larger and larger brewers. We have an incredible team to make this happen. Jimmy, our COO, has over 8 years in small business development. Eli, our lead engineer, has tons of experience in mechanical engineering and military logistics. Myself, I have over 4 years in product management and small business leadership. And Ashton, our CMO, has over 5 years of B2B sales and marketing experience. We have some incredible advisors as well. Scott built a brewing-focused startup, sold into companies like Coors and Busch, and also smaller craft breweries as well, and it was eventually acquired by Honeywell. Steve is the chairman and CEO of Alem with over 35 years of global operations experience. And we have 2 awesome interns as well. Amanda's helping us out with our marketing and sales, and Pax is helping us out on the engineering side. Thank you all.
What a fantastic video. Awesome. So now Jimmy is going to be joined by his partners, Eli, Ashton, and Daniel, to follow up with this 5-minute Q&A. And I'm going to switch it around one more time. And this time we'll start with questions from Chris. Chris, take it away.
Okay, great. Hey, I'd like to sort of double click on 2 issues. One, can you break down the $2.50 savings number you put out there? And the second, can you quantify a little bit deeper the environmental impact that you believe is great?
Yep, so I'll take the first one of that on the $2.50, and then I'll have Jimmy address the second one there. So the $2.50, that is directly from charging based on weight, as well as mentioned in the pitch that some of these trucks are actually going out half full because 18-wheelers have a weight cap, and kegs are so heavy that they literally will hit the weight cap half full and they'll have to send out an entirely new truck. So those are the 2 main things that are going into that $2.50. And now Jimmy can talk a little bit about how we quantify those emission savings.
Yeah, the emission savings were calculated based on the average emissions of a big diesel truck. And then our weight savings of 6 pounds per keg calculated through into about 3 3/4 grams per mile. So then we kind of had to break that down because per mile savings is not, blanket across the board.
Thank you.
Excellent. Next, we'll pass it over to Nina.
Hi, thank you. Quick question. Do you have a patent pending?
We do have a patent pending. We have a utility patent for using COPV kegs for beverages. And so currently right now we're working with a few IP lawyers to get that rolled up into a full patent, which we're learning is quite the process. So that's happening over these next few months.
Yeah, quick follow-up, if I may, on that is for your competition, do you know if they are working on a similar product at this point?
Nope. We have not seen anything else there with COPV kegs, and we did our, I'm not too sure what the technical term is for it, but searching for all the patents out there for COPV using for kegs, and there was nothing out there. And we haven't seen anybody using this. So as far as we know, we're the first.
If I could just tack on there, so there is one innovation that Dan actually mentioned in the presentation. It's those plastic PET kegs. Yeah, but they're single use and they're known for being dangerous. Yeah, and they're also single use.
Thanks. Awesome. All right, and we'll pass it over to Essence for a question. Essence.
Thank you. Quick question. What is the lifespan of the keg stand versus a traditional keg stand? Not traditional keg stand, but a traditional keg in terms of the uses of your particular keg versus, you know, the original kind of heavier ones, and also the lifespan of the beverage inside. Is there a difference in how long a beverage will stay fresh or stay, you know, to have its fullness, one versus the other?
Yep. So I'm going to address your questions in the reverse order here. First of all, the beverage in kegs, beer will last anywhere from 2 to 6 months per se. It depends on the quality of the keg, where it was manufactured. If it's low quality steel from China, if it's high quality from the US. The second is the lifespan of a traditional keg, and I'm going to talk about a steel keg, which is about 20 to 30 years, depending on, you know, if it's lost or if the spout's damaged or whatever it be. But if it optimally 20 to 30 years, we're projecting ours is the same. Unfortunately, this company has not been around for that long, so I can't tell you exactly, but through our engineering analysis, it should be 20 to 30 years.
And to add on to that, Essence, just to tack on, our kegs are actually just as, if not more, repairable than steel kegs. So the first thing that's going to get damaged with our kegs is the fiberglass overwrap. And it's a lot easier to add more fiberglass to reinforce over top of it and regain the structural integrity that you would have lost. So while they are just as repairable, if not more repairable than steel kegs, which will further increase that lifespan. And to add to the beer life question, it's a hard question to answer, like Dan said, just because different types of beer and different storage conditions affect it. But the important thing with our product is that the beer interface inside the keg is the exact same. So we don't anticipate any taste difference, any quality difference, or really any difference at all in the way the keg is used. It's just lighter.
Thank you.
Excellent. And that wraps up all of our time that we have for questions, and lets me have a little time to sing about "In heaven there is no beer. That is why we drink it here." Am I dating myself? Did I show my age now? You know, huh? Anyway, that's all we have for our videos today. Thank you guys so much for all of your fantastic work and great answers in this Q&A session. In this time, we're going to ask the judges to step into another Zoom room to deliberate and review and come up with our winners for the evening. In this time, for the rest of us all here, we're going to hop over and chat with Jeff, who's going to introduce the Lullaby project and show us, entertain us with some live music and great information. Jeff?
Thank you, Shaz, and good evening to all of our judges and teams. It is so incredible to see the amazing creativity and innovation that's been on display this evening. It's every year I get blown away by it, and I love the NVC for that reason. So welcome all. So my name is Jeff Nitch, and I'm on the faculty in the College of Music, and I'm director of the Entrepreneurship Center for Music. And tonight I'm going to share a little bit about the Colorado Lullaby Project, which is a collaboration between the Entrepreneurship Center and the Renee Crown Wellness Institute. Now, this is part interdisciplinary research project, it's part community engagement activity, it's part social entrepreneurial venture. We're going to start with 2 short videos. The first of which is a quick overview of the Lullaby project that was sent out in CU Boulder today a few months ago. You might have seen it. And the second one is actually one of the lullabies that was created by 2 of our music students during our first run of the Lullaby project last spring. And I put that music together with just some some shots of lullaby projects that have been done around the country. And I guarantee you that's going to pull at your heartstrings. And then the judges will probably need a few more minutes. So while they continue, I'm going to introduce you to the 2 grad students who have been on the ground making this thing happen here at CU. And we'll have a little live Q&A with them. So take it away, Colin, roll those beautiful videos.
Our research seeks to address really that to help support mental health and wellness of parents. And we wanted to address difficulties with social connection, difficulties with loneliness, and provide an experience that can be both joyful and connecting, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. We did recruit parents and expected parents from the community to engage in the Lullaby project. Parents signed up for a 3.5-hour video conference call. The parents were invited to work one-on-one with a student musician to create a personalized lullaby. We structured everything to happen over Zoom to really accommodate the need for social distancing. So some of the lullabies in our project were calming, some of them were sad, others were more energetic and upbeat. And before and after the lullaby session, we did ask parents to complete surveys to learn about the impact on their mental health and wellness and in connection with their children. We found that parents really did connect to the program, and they reported that it was a positive experience overall. They also showed improvements in both social connection and mental well-being. Parents did also speak about the impact that the lullaby had on their relationships with their children and families. They have bonded more with their children or partner or family since creating their lullaby. I was just so inspired to see that the effects of the program were strong in the midst of this pandemic.
Little Zoe River, with your friends you go and play. Full of life and laughter, you're sure to find the way. Look low, look high to the earth and the sky. The sun is shining yellow and bright. It wants to hear you sing all night. Dance, dance, smooth and sweet. Stomp, stomp, stomp your feet. Clap, clap, let's hear you sing, my little wild thing. Dance, dance, smooth and sweet. Stomp, stomp, stomp your feet. Clap, clap, let's hear you sing, my little wild thing, my little wild thing, my little wild thing. I wish you well, my deepest love. The stars are burning bright. I'll hold you in my warm embrace, deep into the night. And in the world of stars and dreams, if fear begins to creep, I'll be there with my warming love to bring you back to sleep, to bring you back to sleep. to hold you in my warm embrace and bring you back to sleep and bring you back to
Thank you so much, Colin, for getting those videos out for us. I love that song. I've heard it now like a gazillion dozen times, and I still love it. So I'm going to bring on now two graduate students who have been absolutely critical to getting all of this happening. One is my TA in the Entrepreneurship Center for Music, Grace Law. Grace is a master's student in flute performance and my absolute indispensable teaching assistant in the Entrepreneurship Center. And then we have Ann Fritzen, who is the lead researcher over in the Renee Crown Institute. And I'm just going to pitch them a couple of questions about this whole process. And Grace, I'm going to start with you. You know, as was mentioned in that See You Boulder Today video, we had to pivot this thing into a remote format very, very quickly. And I'll just tell a little story on myself. I was convinced that we couldn't do it and that we needed to postpone. And Grace was not hearing any of that. And she is like, we are gonna make this thing happen. We are gonna figure out how to make this work. And she did. So we don't really have time to hear the whole story of how you pulled that off, because it was, you know, we've given like talks at conferences about this. But what are some of the things that we found out were actually better via Zoom, and therefore we think we're going to stick with this?
Oh, absolutely. We were introduced to a lot of beautiful and unique opportunities to pivot this project to really kind of soar given the circumstances. In pivoting to a digital setting and keeping with the research that we did, we found that there was a need for this project more so than ever in the span of public health. We've noticed a large shift in the arts and entertainment of funding and investors wanting to shift to public health ventures, and that's kind of where we found ourselves fitting. But also in holding it in a digital forum, we were able to create a more equitable stance to offer this to people within Colorado and outside of Colorado. They were able to stay in the comfort of their own homes, care for their children. They did not have to travel. They did not have to find childcare either to participate in the program, and they were able to involve any of the family members or children that they wanted. So we were able to really cultivate this experience in a very intimate way to really satisfy the goals of what Lullaby Project is. And it allowed us to offer something in a digital way that past pandemic we can continue on to do to reach more people and more families we want to serve in communities.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Grace. So Ann, a question for you. You are in the process of completing your master's thesis on this research. And can you tell us a little bit about the specific research questions that you were interested in addressing, and maybe what other questions remain unanswered for potential future research?
Yeah, that's a really great couple of questions. So originally, the research that we were hoping to conduct that we did do was on the social function of music. And so that is why we wanted, well, we weren't planning to run it in the midst of a pandemic with the need for social distancing, but it worked out really well in that prior to the pandemic, rates of loneliness among parents were about 20%. Reporting loneliness in the past week. And then with the pandemic, that some research showed that increased to over 40%. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even more so than that as the pandemic has continued. And so it was really great avenue for us to look at this question of how can music have this social function, and can it elevate social connection for either between a parent and child, like we were looking at in this project, or between parents and their families, between their them and their communities. So that is a major thing that we looked at. And we also know that social connection is so deeply connected to mental health and wellness. And so we also looked at mental health and wellness there. I think that moving forward, just based off of what, you know, Grace was talking about too, about equity and the major potential for this project to be disseminated and to really overcome a lot of barriers to care. Things like needing to find childcare, needing to to drive and find parking. Those are major barriers, and it has given us this opportunity to use this program to try to disseminate it, to spread it throughout Colorado. And some of my things that I would like to do are find out ways that we can adapt this program in you know, to different cultures, different languages, find ways to make this program as accessible and as adaptive as possible. So I know that's very broad, but that's what our next steps will certainly be.
That is so awesome. So Grace, back to you. Some of the folks here, entrepreneurs all, may be wondering, how did the Entrepreneurship Center for Music get connected with this research project over, you know, what does entrepreneurship have to do with any of this? Do you want to, I'll let you speak to that rather than me answering my own question. What?
Sure. This is a topic that you and I obviously talk about all of the time. This fits under a big scope of what we call teaching artistry, which is not something we find in a lot of higher ed programs. We find that in at least music, they will prepare you with the traditional skill set. But there's a big gap in the way of what is it that you'll actually be doing when you leave school, and what are the avenues that you will probably be getting hired and making money, right? So a lot of the student musicians that we engage, they all become studio recording artists on their own. They start to arrange and record music. They become kind of individual project managers on their own. And in this way, it really envelops that skill set, and in the way that they are much more prepared for employable jobs in the future. And at least for us on our end, what we do is we have the opportunity to broaden this to different universities and consult out to help them design these programs and really branch out in the fact that we can serve communities, hire our student artists, and hire more people involved with the program and serve our communities while embedding ourselves with different foundations to broaden our scope and make this a more sustainable venture for us.
That's awesome. Thank you, Grace. I see that Shaz has turned on their camera again. So that means the judges are ready to share the results of their deliberations. So thank you, Grace and Anne, and I will send it back to you, Shaz.
Thank you guys so much. Grace and Anne, if you wouldn't mind letting us know how we can get in touch with you guys and find your information, we would love to share that with the group here. I'm sure they'd love to get to know your projects a little better. You guys, all right, excellent. So there's an email in the chat. Fantastic. We are waiting on our judges to come on back. They might be caught deliberating still. I'm governed by the clock here. So if we have maybe just one more question, then we can see if our judges have come back by then. Jeff?
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
I saw your beautiful face and I didn't want to delay anything any further.
Yeah, I was hoping they should be back any moment, but we're still waiting on a few of them.
I'm not surprised because they've got a very difficult decision.
Yeah, I'm not envious.
So Anne, I guess it's your turn then. How did you, when you started your master's here at CU, did you know that you were interested in early childhood development and you know, the mental health and wellness of young families, or did you how did you come into this field, and how did this become your call to action?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have wanted to work with kids my whole entire life, and I did that for most of my college career. And then after college, I worked on a research study, well, 2 research studies on perinatal depression, which is depression experienced during pregnancy and the postpartum period. And I truly fell in love with working with pregnant and postpartum women and individuals during that time. And I couldn't fathom doing anything else in graduate school. So I came here to work with Dr. Sona Dimijan, and a lot of the work that she does focuses on pregnancy and the postpartum period, one of which was the Lullaby Project program. And I just thought it was such a fantastic idea that can really cross a lot of boundaries, including, I mean, being in the mental health field, there can certainly be a stigma about talking about mental health, addressing mental health. And that's something I've experienced in my life a lot from my cultural background. And the fact that a lot of my family members expressed interest in this program meant a lot to me. It showed that it really has a lot of potential, and even better if it can address mental health and help to decrease stigma in some way. That was really, I don't know exactly what that trajectory was there, but I knew I wanted to do this work.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome. So Grace, you and I have talked a lot about the effect that this has had on the teaching artists. You know, we were studying the impact on the mothers and these families, but that the music students were really deeply moved by this experience as well. And that might actually be a future bit of research that we can do to actually quantify that in some ways. Right. But Grace, is there maybe any particular moment that you witnessed or were a part of that really stands out with you as being special?
Oh, wow. That's really quite difficult, because there's always, every time we run a session, there's always something. There is always something somebody shares, and it gives us such great privilege that we are able to offer a program in an environment in which people feel that they are safe and free to share about their lives, and we have the privilege to hear their stories and why they choose to participate in the project. I would give that as a broad answer, but we just held this past weekend our 2 first spring sessions, so I can kind of start out fresh. You know, we have families come in from all sorts of different backgrounds and life circumstances in particular. And we engage, you know, with families that are in the prenatal period and postnatal, and for children that can be up to 12 at sometimes. But I think it's particularly gratifying to help families and parents of adoptive children find that welcoming connection that they can have, especially in a session where they can find that they have something that really makes that child feel like they belong to that family. Often what Anne and I would find in the qualitative analysis is that almost every parent would specifically say this is a gift to their children, and being able to have them make that process and have the ownership to create that and share that with them is very incredible, in a way that this project gives us just as much as we hope it gives them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now we know for sure the judges are back. So thank you again, Grace and Anne, for just riffing along here. And now I will pass it back to our fabulous MC. Take it away, Shaz.
I keep doing this thing where I think that you guys can hear me despite my mute. It's like I think I have superpowers. All right, here we go. Thank you guys so much for that wonderful presentation of the Lullaby Project. It's a really important and really moving kind of project, so thank you for that. And in our last few minutes here, thank you guys for hanging on. We're going to announce our winners, the reason why we're all here. So here's how this is going to go. We're going to start with 5th place first and work all the way up to 1st place because we love suspense. And what I'm going to ask the judges to do is share your overall feedback, maybe something positive, something negative, something positive, a little criticism sandwich. And then after you give that feedback, just share the team that came in that particular rank. So we'll start off with 5th place, and I'll let you guys work out who's going to announce what, and I'll help you along the way as well. All right, judges, take it away.
Thank you, Shaz. So for 5th place, we picked Pureburn. We definitely love the idea of being able to, provide something to a market that's very untouched. One thing that was kind of a drawback was the ability to really meet the needs on a large scale basis. But other than that, the idea was very creative and awesome. 4th place is Keg Stand. We greatly enjoyed the idea of the profitability of it. I think the long-term kind of impact on it was something that we kind of thought was not as impactful as some of the other selections, but definitely still a great idea. Awesome job to Pureburn and Keg Stand. So great job, guys. And I'll turn it over to Nina for 3rd place.
All right, before we jump in with 3rd place, I just want to reiterate that the 5th and 4th place prizes are $500 each. So congratulations to Pureburn and Keg Stand. Next, we'll have 3rd place, and then we'll hold off a little bit to see who comes in 2nd and 1st.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Essence. The 3rd place is going to Social Dynamic. Now, if I had my druthers, I'd have Social Dynamic match up with all of you and work with their clients to get all of you a part of the social impact marketing. So something to think about. I think there's a lot of synergies there potentially. But having been in this marketing consulting space before, I think that the organization is well on the path to being able to really make a difference. I hope that you will consider expanding your target market a little bit, especially given the need right now. And we talked about the desire. This is just a hot space to be in right now. And with where you guys are coming from, you are able to speak to your customers and speak to those millennials. And we think that this business is well on the path to success. So we're very excited for you.
All right, congratulations to Social Dynamic. You guys are going home with $1,000 this evening. Ow, ow. All right, that means we have 2 groups remaining, Hug Solutions and Rocky Tech. Why don't you guys, the judges, why don't you tell us what you liked about both of these groups before revealing which came in 1st and 2nd?
Sure. Can I break the beans, Eric, that it was a tie for 1st and 2nd? And we had to have a debate to pick a 1st and a 2nd because they were that close. Hug Solutions, obviously a good time, great problem, great market, and obviously going to make an impact in the world. Clearly, if that works and gets out there, massive impact. And Rocky Tech, same thing. Plastics is a huge problem in the market. Good technology, solve the problem of mixing plastics, driving down the cost. So these 2 were neck and neck, and we had a verbal discussion among the judges to separate the 1 from the 2. And Nina and Essence, do you want to share your comments on 1 and 2 as well?
I think, go ahead, Essence.
Okay, I am definitely, excited about both products. I think Rocky Tech was one that really had a great impact for a problem that's been around for a long time and is solving for some of the very large issues in that particular arena. Hug Solutions, again, very timely, very right now problem that we are seeing the growth in and will be a future problem without a solution. So I think they were both really good. Solutions to be able to come in as a tie almost. And so it was really hard, like, oh man, which one? And so I love it. And I'm excited to see where either of these grow and go.
I would just add to that, that I think for all of them, all five, I was just very impressed with really identifying a clear and being able to state a very clear problem which you have a solution for. And solutions that are viable, that are not outlandish, that are doable with the right team together. And so I just congratulate all of you from that standpoint. I think Hug and the plastic solution really rose to the top because there's just such an immediate need for these, and both of these products have the ability to really be transformational in the areas that they're in. Immediately. And so, but kudos to everyone. It was impressive, and thank you for all that you're doing to make a difference in our world.
All right, and with no further ado, please announce the second and first place winners.
Well, in second place, we have Hug Solutions, and the winner is Rocky Tech.
Woo! All right. So yeah, big congratulations to everyone. That's really fantastic. So to go over again, in fifth place, we have Pureburn. In fourth place, we have Keg Stand. In third place, Social Dynamic. Second place went to Hug Solutions, and first place went to Rocky Tech. Awesome. These were all fabulous, fabulous ideas and really great work by all teams involved. Thank you all for coming out and spending your evening with us. And once again, thanks to our sponsors for making this evening happen. I really can't express enough with my true heartfelt I'm blown away, truly blown away by what comes out of CU Boulder every single year. And this is absolutely no exception. So thank you to everyone who's participated. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. No puns. That's it. Just going. Good night, everyone.